Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive. We take complex topics, try to cut through the noise, and, give you the shortcut to being genuinely well informed. Today, we're plunging into what looks like a really fascinating and honestly maybe a bit chaotic week ahead. We're talking about the anticipated political turbulence in Thailand. We've gathered insights from various sources. You shared articles, research, expert takes to try and distill this really intricate interplay. You've got government formation, key judicial decisions, what's happening in parliament, even international relations all tangled up. So our mission for this deep dive, basically to help you understand the core issues, maybe uncover some surprising details, and reveal those underlying currents of power shaping things right now. Get ready, because, yeah, it looks like a crucial week.
It certainly does. The sheer speed at which these events are stacking up is pretty remarkable, kicking off right at the start of the week.
Yeah, and when we say start, we mean Monday, June 30th. The immediate challenge seems to be this uncertainty around the Onging 2 cabinet, Patong Tarn Shinawatra Ongying, as she's known, trying to put together her second government, basically. We're hearing about some really intense negotiations. What's the holdup? Is it just haggling over posts, or is there something deeper, like fundamental disagreements making it so tough?
Well, what's crucial here, I think, is that it's not just about, who gets which job. The fragmentation we're seeing, especially inside the United Thai Nation Party. You mentioned these subgroups, right? All bargaining hard. It points to a kind of fundamental instability, maybe even deep distrust, or just competing agendas that could really paralyze things right from the start. And you see the PM herself being, well, pretty non-committal when reporters press her on the cabinet list. Has it gone for a royal endorsement? Even Dr. Ming, who's a key player, just gave this vague, waiting for royal endorsement line, which honestly suggests there's ongoing confusion, maybe some real struggles behind closed doors. And here's the kicker. If that cabinet isn't endorsed today, Monday, that immediately sets the stage for, well, a much bigger ripple effect. It connects directly to what's happening the very next day.
Okay, right. And Tuesday, July 1st, this is where, as you said, it gets really interesting. That's when the Constitutional Court decides whether to even accept this petition from 36 senators, aiming to remove the Prime Minister, Patomkan Shinawatra. And the charges sound serious, echoing what happened with Shweta Thavisin, right? Lack of integrity, grave violation of political ethics. Can you just walk us through the core of that? And why is this specific audio clip, the one with Patongtan and Hun Sen, why is that so central?
Yes, that specific petition really hinges on this widely discussed audio clip. The conversation between Patong Tarn and Hun Sen, the former Cambodian PM. Now, public perception, according to the sources we looked at, seems to be that many think the court will accept the case because they see the evidence is pretty clear, maybe implying Thailand kind of lost face, was put at a disadvantage dealing with, well, a rival nation. Now, if we link this to the bigger picture, the court's decision has two really critical stages. First, just accepting the case itself. And second, deciding whether to order a suspension of duties while they consider it. We've seen similar things before, but with different results. Remember General Prayut? He was suspended as PM, but he stayed on as defense minister because the charge was specific to his time in office, not, his basic qualifications. Shredha, though, wasn't suspended at first, but boom, immediately disqualified when the court ruled. Patong Tarn's case could be more severe. Why? Because the charges hit right at integrity and ethics. That means if she were disqualified, even if she held another cabinet job, say culture minister, she couldn't serve at all. And you have to mention the Pheu Thai legal team's track record here. That colorful phrase, millipedes falling into a drain. It kind of highlights this pattern, doesn't it? Despite their political strength, maybe they keep underestimating the judiciary or their opponent's political will. This legal vulnerability, even if it stems from political attacks, it fundamentally weakens their position. And importantly, this issue touches on sovereignty. That word carries a lot of weight.
Sovereignty. Okay. Why does that make it heavier, as you put it?
Well, in Thailand, talking about sovereignty isn't just a legal point. It's emotional. It taps into nationalistic feelings. Issues framed this way can be seen as almost existential threats to national dignity. So judges and the public tend to be much more sensitive. And we'll be watching the court's voting ratios closely. Is it a 7-2 decision or a tight 5-4? That can signal how the rest of the case might go. A close vote might mean more legal wrangling ahead. A wide margin could suggest a more definitive direction. And it's worth noting, the senators who filed this, Savatha Sana and Chayong Menirugam, they seem pretty confident they'll get that suspension.
Right. So, okay, if the PM is suspended, that triggers a whole cascade, like political dominoes falling. The Uning 2 cabinet might just stall, not get sworn in, leaving the old cabinet kind of holding the fort. Then who acts as a PM? That would be Deputy PM Phumtham Wechayachai. But what about his authority? Can he really make big calls in that kind of limbo? And our sources flag immediate international fallout, like those U.S. trade negotiations. Pichai Trunavadra is meant to be in Washington this week. If that fails by the July 8th deadline, Thailand could be looking at massive tariffs, 36%, maybe 25%. Huge. Yeah, and don't forget the Cambodian border issue. That gets even trickier with an acting PM, surely. It just feels like everything could grind to a halt. Stagnation while everyone waits on the court. So given all this, how many legal battles is she actually fighting right now? It sounds like more than just this one case.
You're absolutely right. It's definitely a multi-front legal war zone for her. It's not just the Constitutional Court case from the senators. There are, let's see, at least 4 separate complaints we know about. There's the senators one, then a election commission complaint from Ruang Krai Likit Watana, another one filed by Susawan Janya with the NACC, that's the National Anti-Corruption Commission, and even a police complaint under national security law brought by Somchai Sowankarn.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So Phutai's defense strategy, as far as we can tell, is focusing on that audio clip. Trying to argue it shouldn't be admissible evidence, claiming it was illegally obtained maybe raises diplomatic problems. But it's worth remembering the Constitutional Court has used audio and video evidence before, like in the Thai Rag Thai Party dissolution back in 2007. And Noralit Lailang's name has popped up as a potential lawyer for her defense team. It's a dizzying number of legal and political moves happening all at once, like playing chess on several boards simultaneously, where any piece could just explode.
Okay, so while all that legal drama swirls around the PM, the political arena itself isn't exactly quiet either. Parliament is set to open Wednesday, July 3rd. And we're already seeing moves, like the Phumjai Thai Party. They're pushing for an Article 151 no-confidence debate against the government. What exactly is an Article 151 debate, and why now? Why are they pushing for it at this particular moment?
Right, so an Article 151 no-confidence debate, it's basically a formal challenge, questioning the government's whole legitimacy, its fitness to govern. And Phumjai Thai isn't just talking. They've pretty much declared themselves a full-blown opposition party now, actively criticizing the government. And adding another layer here, the People's Party is apparently thinking about joining that no-confidence vote, too. Then there's talk about Phutai maybe pulling back that entertainment complex bill, the one with the 10% casino clause, possibly swapping it out for an amnesty bill. But that's opening a whole other can of worms. Multiple versions of this amnesty bill are floating around. Big questions about whether it includes Article 112, the lèse-majesté law, and crucially, who actually benefits from it. A political minefield.
But traffic light analysis from Phumjai Thai, you mentioned, the one on their Facebook page, it seems pretty stark. Laying out best, and worst case scenarios, is that like a genuine attempt at risk assessment, or is it more strategic, positioning themselves in case there's a power vacuum?
That's a really good question. I mean, their traffic light definitely presents a strategic narrative. Green light, the best case, according to them, is the PM resigning. Then a new PM gets picked from the existing candidate list. They even name names. Anutin Charnvirakul, General Prayut, Pirapen Salirata Vibaga, Chaikasan Nitasiri, Juran Laksana visit, basically anyone but the current setup. Yellow light, the risky option, is dissolving the House. New elections. But that means, 5 or 6 months of delay. Costs 6 billion baht. It's the economy. And red light, the one they say must be avoided, is a coup. And a democracy, potential unrest. So yeah, it highlights the stakes, but it absolutely serves a strategic purpose too. Shaping how people see the options, influencing the political game. And don't forget the internal splits elsewhere. Like within the United Thai Nation Party, you've got the Pirapan faction versus the Suchart faction. Each were 18 MPs. That directly affects the government's stability. Pirapan's group has even been posting poetry online, using social media to show they're unified, pushing back in this power struggle. It's quite public.
Poetry, huh?
And hanging over all of this, of course, is Thaksin Shinawatра's ongoing Supreme Court case. On the 14th floor, as they say. Anything that happens with Patong Tarn has a direct knock-on effect for her father and vice versa. They're inextricably linked. What's really fascinating here is how this whole situation in Thailand throws a spotlight on these intense political fights playing out through the legal system and the strategic use of information, of evidence, often where the evidence itself, like that audio clip, has contested origins. It really makes you think about, the changing nature of power, checks and balances, and how political struggles unfold in such a dynamic place.
And finally, there's this slightly curious detail. Prime Minister Patontarn posted recently about a phone call she had with French President Macron. But the interesting part is the call actually happened days ago. She just reposted about it today. The official stuff mentioned was, technology, space, defense, clean energy, strategic partnership, free trade, OECD membership, standard diplomatic points. So what does this all mean? Why highlight this call right now amidst all the domestic chaos?
Yeah, that timing does raise an eyebrow, doesn't it? It seems like a pretty calculated diplomatic move, happening right when things are so turbulent at home. The sources we looked at suggest the underlying reason might be to counter Hun Manet, the current Cambodian PM. He just visited France, apparently discussed the Cambodia-Thailand border. So by reposting her call now, Pattongtarn gets to emphasize Thailand's side peaceful resolution using bilateral channels, and she made sure to mention Macron's understanding and support.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, it's basically a way to project this image of being active internationally, having global support, perhaps as a contrast to the challenges she's facing internally. It's definitely an interesting play to keep an eye on as things unfold this week.
So as you can clearly see, the week ahead in Thailand is absolutely packed, poised for some significant political turbulence. You've got these legal battles, cabinet uncertainties, parliamentary maneuvering, all weaving together with international implications. This deep dive, well, we hope it's given you a clearer map of this incredibly complex and, frankly, fast-moving landscape.
Absolutely. The current situation really does highlight these intense political confrontations playing out, often through legal channels, using information strategically, sometimes evidence whose origins are even debated. It really prompts us to think about the evolving nature of power, isn't it? Checks and balances, and just how political struggle happens in such a dynamic system today.
That interconnectedness is really striking, isn't it? How legal, political, international events, they're all deeply tangled, shaping where the country is heading. So, as you reflect on everything we've talked about today, maybe consider this question. How do you think these internal political struggles might end up reshaping Thailand's role on the global stage in the coming months? Something to ponder.